So thank you, Tino, for this presentation. I'm Jeremy Bourdon, CEO of Hedera Technology. I'm here with Antoine Castin, CTO.
Hi.
So we will begin by a short presentation of our product Canopia, and after that we will do a live demo with Antoine of Canopia. So we are very pleased to introduce you Canopia, developed by Hedera Technology. We are a cloud software editor founded in 2009, based in Paris. We are 15 employees. Our mission is to give freedom and flexibility to build scaled cloud in minutes. We pilot the different layers of the IT stack, hardware, storage, VM, and IaaS, to create automated, orchestrated, and scalable services. We have developed Canopia for IaaS solutions like Opennebula and other one to bring them new innovative features. So we are very happy to work with C2FG on such enterprise-ready and flexible cloud platform like Opennebula. So what is our customer pain and gain? So nowadays we ask IT department to do their task faster with less budget and more flexibility. Basically, we give them the means to reach their targets. So with Canopia, our customers industrialize their infrastructures by creating services and fasten time-to-market service delivery. Added to that, our main goal is to optimize infrastructures in order to reduce costs, OPEX and CAPEX. Our Canopia Smart Workload Manager, which is one of modules of Canopia, increases efficiency, service assurance, and application performance. To reduce costs in the run, we do more than turning on and off. We find out the best configuration as possible according to your SLA and requests. Furthermore, identifying dysfunctions can be long and fastidious due to a ton of logs. So not only we do monitor resources, but we also solve root cause problems automatically and in real time. Canopia delivers an intelligent and automated controls module to guarantee performance for your Opennebula platform. So how Canopia works? Canopia works with the virtuous loops. Once a cycle is finished, another one begins. It can be set from every 5 minutes to once a day, depending on what you want. First, we monitor the resource that we pilot, like compute, system, and applications. Second, the information goes through our intelligence algorithms. We analyze data, we correlate them in order to find out the best configuration to determine the best action. Canopia's performance analysis works with several algorithms and powerful engine to guarantee SLA while optimizing occupation rates. Our workflow and deployment manager makes sure operations are made successfully and in the right time. Our deployment managers work with Puppet to automate configuration management. So what is the different module of Canopia? Canopia first is a modular software. So you can use every module depending on what you want and what is your needs. Each module has a specific know-how and corresponds to a particular needs. The first one is the Smart Workload Managers. For instance, it's the intelligence of our solutions with many algorithms like a rule engines, a correlation engine, and historical analysis and learning. For example, what is historical learning? For instance, imagine that all your sales representatives connect themselves to your CRM every Monday at 11 o'clock. The solution will learn automatically and will deploy all the necessary resources and anticipate the request increase. The VM Lifecycle Manager is designed to optimize virtual environments like operation, like live migration, hot scaling, CPU and RAM, and monitor the activity of each VM to avoid resource waste. You can deploy different IaaS and manage different IaaS like Opennebula. The orchestration manager is the one making sure your operation go well, creating the right workflow at the right moment. The cloud service portal is an innovative way to build services by gathering different infrastructure policies together. You can customize your billing scenario depending on your business model. The system will integrate it, respect it, and apply it. Therefore, you can follow your client's consumptions and offer them the best option to use it. The full stack deployment manager is the module designed to bring automation to the different layers of your IT stacks. It's based on the Puppet agent. And the last one is the core engine. It's the glue that combines together the different modules. You can either add them up to have a solution or use them independently to complete your IT management tools. So just to describe you a use case. So our use case is one of our customers which work in the industry sectors. He has deployed Opennebula in Canopia infrastructures. Our customers deploy and manage identity and access management softwares for different clients and customers. Their customers are dispatched everywhere on the globe, and some customers are in Brazil, other customers in North America, other one in Japan and Asia, etc., etc. So his goal is to first automate a KVM and Opennebula provisionings based on the Cisco and Dell environments. He wants to simplify the management of the all networks with 20 networks, 200 VLANs, and 4 physical data centers. But the main point that he wants, because he has not a lot of infrastructures, he wants to move dynamically hardware from one IaaS to another IaaS depending on the fluctuation charge loads. For example, he wants that the hardware used by the Brazil zone switch to the Asia zone every night. So the benefit with Canopia is to have a scalable private cloud that adapts itself depending on the application request. And for results, it decreases the time to provision IaaS from 8 hours to 45 minutes, the time to deploy VM from 3 hours to 12 minutes, and 30% of their compute nodes migrate every day from one IaaS to other IaaS, depending on the load of the infrastructures. So this is one of our typical use case based on Opennebula and Canopia. So now, the best thing to do is to show you Canopia, and Antoine will show you what Canopia is able. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write it by the chat, or by raising up your hand.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Antoine Castin, the CTO of Hedera Technology. For this demo, I set up the following environment. So we use with this instance of Canopia 3 different servers with Linux NAS system storage and flat network to combine all this infrastructure. On this compute node, we deploy Opennebula on Hedera, and we created 2 different services. So to begin, I will change my screen. We will see the new screen with Canopia login. I think it's good. So before to begin and login in Canopia, I have to explain you that Canopia manage different and complex environments, virtualized or not, and to adapt to complex process and heterogeneous users, Canopia implement 2 kinds of right management. The first one is a role-based right management with 4 different kinds of users. The Canopia administrators who configure and manage its Canopia instance, the IT administrators who register and manage technical infrastructures, your marketing team, if you are a hoster, or your business project manager in company, who create services, launch it, and manage them. And the last but not least, you have the sales, or the operator, or the user portal, who manage existing services and subscribers. The second right management systems is an entity-based one, which allowing you to define who will manage what. So I will log on Canopia. So to begin the demo, I will explain you how to manage quickly infrastructure. So with Canopia, you can register your different servers through directly Canopia or through an Active Directory. You can use UCS Cisco Blade Manager or Fujitsu One. After, you can register different storage system using a Linux NAS based on LVM, iSCSI, and NFS, or Fujitsu and NetApp are available for Canopia. Through the network configuration, you will be able to define the different IP pool and IP networks used in your infrastructure and the different VLAN. After, you can create some network configuration explaining to Canopia how these different networks are plugged in. In the system part, you will register your different operating systems, your applications, and your kernels. So for this demo, as I already said, I deploy Opennebula IaaS. This IaaS, I can't access this part of my screen. Each infrastructure has its own dashboard. You can review all the main metrics of your infrastructure. So as I said, we have deployed an Opennebula with 2 different data stores registered on it, and another commitment ratio set to 4 for the CPU and the memory. So we can over-provision our infrastructure 4 times compared to its real resources. Through the hypervisor part, you can review which hypervisor are deployed and which VM is available on it. You can manipulate the different VMs and hypervisor from the screen, but it's only administrator part. So when your IT guys has defined the infrastructure, now your business team or your project manager want to create some services adapt to its customer or to the end users. So to do this, to have the best flexibility, we create 2 levels of service templates. The first one is a policy. The policies are a templating part of your services. You will be able to define different policies for each part of your infrastructure. The hosting one defining on which infrastructure is based your new service, on a IaaS or physical clusters. On the storage, you will be able to define which storage systems could be used. In the network, you will create your different topology, defining that for your service, you have 2 or more interfaces used for the internet access, private access, or VM access. In the system part, you will define which operating system is used and which applications are deployed. The scalability policies allow you to define from which number node to maximum that will be deployed through Canopia. You can set the priority to. Our most important policy is the billing policy. The billing policy allows you to define some business package like in mobile phone industry. So you are able to define different limits to manage your customer consumptions. In this example, I defined 3 different limits. One on 2 gigs of RAM, one on 4 gigs of RAM, and the last on 8 gigs of RAM. So my user will consume its memory during its life, and we can adapt the best package to its consumptions. And the hoster could give the best build for its consumptions. This is the first case. The second one, for the application who has a periodic activity, like the poker or porn website, you are able to define limits during different day period. So in this example, I defined a first limit at 4 gigs of RAM during the day and 32 gigs of RAM during the night. So my infrastructure will use at maximum 4 gigs of RAM during day and 32 gigs of RAM during night. The last policy for your service is an automation one, and I will explain it during the real use case on a service instance dedicated to a customer. So when you defined all your policies, it was a little long, but you are able now to create easily services taking the different part of your policies and combining it on our services. If you let some blank in your policies or in your services, this point will be asked to the end user from the service portal or to the operator who registers infrastructure for its clients. So, for example, you can let the minimum and the maximum RAM amount set to blank for the instantiation, and depending on your customer, you can choose which is the best amount of RAM to begin its infrastructure. Moreover, through customer configuration, you are able to define a global quota on your customers and set, for example, 10 gigs of RAM for users, and you can have different services, but the total amount of RAM used don't go through 10 gigs of RAM. So our services are created, our infrastructure is registered. Now, how can I manage my different service instances for my customers? So I have two examples, as I said, defined on my infrastructure. The first one is Asha high available virtual machine, and the second one is the standard virtual machine services. On each dashboard, you are able to add some metrics and dashboards and customize it. In the different tabs, you can review all the aspects of your instance. You can add new applications from our supported applications and specify what I want to deploy. Canopia can easily deploying different applications. If I choose to use, for example, MySQL applications, Canopia through Puppet will deploy it on a node. Through the resource part, you can review all the VMs or servers deployed for your service, and you can access to the action part, like stocking node, resume need, scale CPU, and hot scale memory, migrate from one host to other, review the configuration, the network configuration, and view a dedicated monitoring part to review its consumptions. In the rules part, you can review fast the different rules and the compliance. I will talk about the monitoring and the rules and in the last part of my demonstration, so I directly go to the event scenario. On this part, I can review all the workflow executed on my infrastructure and see which infrastructure is available and different alerts based on it. I can review the billing policy too. So now we could manage our service instance. Now, how can we optimize it? First, we have different, as Jeremy said, we have different solutions to automate and optimize infrastructure. So in this demo, I will only focus on two parts, the capacity planner and the rules engine. the historical analysis and the QS simulator could be talked later. So I'm going back to the YAS view and explain you a little bit the different features. In our capacity planners, it allows you to deploy your VM on the best hypervisors depending on the load consumptions, on the load distributions, the booking systems, and the configuration constraints. Like, for example, in your network interface defined on your services or your storage access. And if you have compliance node, Canopia will deploy the VM on it. To aim the best repartition on your infrastructure, in our example, we have 6 VM, 4 in the first hypervisor and 2 on the second one. We create an optimized YAS workflow, which allow you to pack the VMs on the lesser number of nodes. So if I click on it, all my VM will be live migrate on the more used hypervisors, and automatically it will free the maximum number of hypervisors. And after, I can remove this hypervisor from this YAS. In this case, it's important to understand that Canopia allows you to move servers from a YAS to another. So that's the main part of the capacity planner. I forget to say it is an agnostic one, so you can plug it on Opennebula and OpenStack and VMware. And now I will explain you how our rule engines function. So we have to create some intelligent rule on your infrastructure. The first thing is to define good metrics adapted to your infrastructures. So in my 2 services, with one composed by 2 VMs and the other composed by 3 different VMs, I already defined different metrics. This is basic metrics based on memory available or total amount, on CPU, and on availability. I can create aggregate metrics for a service, combining with statistic method the different node metrics to detect some usage. For example, in this one, I create a matrix to detect problem during the load balance in the infrastructures. So when I create my matrix and I understand it, I can plug on it different rules to automatically deploy or remove or reconfigure applications. In this example, I defined 2 main rules to auto-scale the virtual machine. For example, the first one, add memory if there is not enough memory on the different node. So on it, I just plug a workflow to add some memory. You can set alert system on your infrastructure, specifying which user will be notified by the infrastructure, and you can specify that you want to validate the workflow triggering. I will give you another interesting example. In this infrastructure, I can show you, to begin, that with our automatic workflow, we manage the size of the VM dynamically. Here, you can view the global amount of memory, and it changes depending on the load on the infrastructure. In my second example, I will show you how Canopia could manage elasticity of your service. And on it, we have, for example, here an Apache application deployed. And when the load on the different VM instance attached to the service is increasing, Canopia will automatically deploy new nodes through its workflow. Like you can say here, if the mean memory available is lesser than 252 megabytes of RAM, we can add node. And automatically, Canopia will deploy new node and reconfigure the load balancer and the applications on all the nodes. So to conclude, Canopia allows you to define, to register your infrastructure, to define services, value-added services, to manage it, and to optimize it. So if you have some questions, I am free to answer to it.
So thank you so much for your intentions. Once again, if you have questions, now is time for you to ask it. Tino or me or Antoine can answer you with a great pleasure. So thanks, Tino, for your help to organize this webinar. And I hope that everybody find this webinar a lot of interest, and see you soon.
See you soon.